Okay. From two words. Were not the gold that was kept there inside the uses more tools. It means archaeology uses more sophisticated methods, including technology, in order
Chatoy. Ganun ki kanina.
ശരിക്കും കുത്തി ഉണ്ടാവില്ല.
ഇല്ല കുത്തിയിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ വേർത്തേക്ക് ഫ്ലഷ് ചെയ്താൽ കേൾക്കുന്നില്ല. കേൾക്കണ്ടോ? മ്യൂട്ട്
Archaeology uses more sophisticated, complicated methods, including medical technology. Including medical technology. 1968, more than 40 years after Cart opened the pyramid in 1922. 40 years, 1962. So more than 40 years of Cart's discovery, an anatomy professor, biology professor, anatomy professor, X-rayed the mummy. Usually we do X-ray for living human beings. X-rayed mummy and revealed a startling fact. Revealed a startling fact. Ashwin, if you want to attend the class, attend it. Otherwise, quit the place. Ashwin, if you want to attend the class, attend there. Properly sit and attend the class. Otherwise, quit the class. It is not a place for mix. Mind it. And revealed a one stunning fact. Elvina, switch on the video. Elvina, switch on the video. Beneath the resin that cakes his chest, that fixed his chest, his breastbone and front ribs are missing. When an anatomy professor X-rayed the dead body, the X-rayed the mummy in 1968, it was found that body, backbone, taking out of the pyramid, it was stuffed. So at that time, the backbone and ribs were taken out. Diagnostic image can be done with computed tomography. What is that for? Tomography. CT scan is computed tomography or CT, by which X-ray in cross section like slice that create a three-dimensional virtual body, means not a real body. So science has the momentum where a virtual three-dimensional body can be created by adding, joining millimeter slices. You see, through CT scan, hundreds of X-rays in cross section are put together like slices of bread to create a three-dimensional virtual body. What more would a CT scan reveal of touch than the X-ray? And could it answer two of the biggest questions, underlined, two of the biggest questions still lingering about him, still waiting for an answer. Still waiting for an answer. These are the questions. Question number one, how did he die? Question number one. How did he die? Number two, underline. How old was he at the time of his death? See, these are the two lingering questions in front of archaeology, in front of the world. Tut died at an early age, supposed to be in his teenagers. So science wanted to know at what age he died, number one. Number two, how was his death? How was his death? These are the two questions. King Tut's demise, demise means death. Demise means death. King Tut's demise was a big event because he was a pharaoh. He was a king. Even by royal standards. So a royal funeral was given to Tut. Tut was given a funeral which was usually done to all kings because the tomb itself witnesses it. He was the last of his family line. Can you tell me one word for king's family line? Can you tell me?
Dynasty.
Dynasty, very good. Very good. So Tut was the last one of his dynasty. There was a line of kings. Among them, the dynasty gets into a point of stop with a touch. He was the last of his family's line, and his funeral was the death rattle of a dynasty. His funeral, by his funeral, a dynasty came to an end. Death rattle, death bell. That makes a closure to a dynasty. It gives an end to a dynasty. It announced the end of a dynasty because the king died at an early age of teenage and he had no children. So there were nobody to continue his dynasty. By the death of King Tut, one dynasty ended. Thereafter, somebody took over the charge. But the particulars of his passing away means death. That's a phrasal verb, passing away, pass away, death. The particulars, the details of his death and its aftermath. Aftermath means after effects. Things happened after. Aftermath. Things happened after an event. That is called aftermath. After effects. In another word, you can say consequences. Consequences. So, the details of his death and things that had happened after his death are unclear to the history, unclear to the science, unclear to the archaeology. Clear now? So, about the death and its later period were not known to history, not to science. Now we are coming to the history. Amenhotep III, that is the name of a king. Amenhotep III, Tut's father or grandfather, we do not know, either father or grandfather, was a powerful pharaoh. So here you see two names. Amenhotep III, 1, 2, 3, same name is used by different people. So Amenhotep III, maybe grandfather, maybe father of Tut, was a powerful pharaoh. Who is Pharaoh? King of Egypt. It is a title of the king of Egypt, like Caesar, Tsar. Pharaoh is a common title given to the kings of Egypt. So, Amenhotep III was a pharaoh. When you say the word pharaoh, no need to say king of Egypt. Who ruled for almost 4 decades. Amenhotep ruled for 4 decades. 1 decade is equal to how many years?
10 years.
10.
10 years. 4 decade means 40 years. So Amenhotep III ruled Egypt for 40 years. At the height of the 18th dynasty's golden age. So that dynasty was the 18th dynasty. And Amenhotep III ruled at the time of golden age, the peak of that dynasty, the best time of the dynasty. Amenhotep III. His son Amenhotep IV, you see, third one, his son IV, Amenhotep IV, succeeded him and initiated one of the strangest periods in the history of ancient Egypt. So, Amenhotep, you have to understand this theory properly. Amenhotep III was the strongest king of Egypt, and he ruled Egypt at the peak time, golden age of his own dynasty. You might have learned about different kinds of dynasties, Tughlaq dynasty, Gupta dynasty, like that in history, you might have learned it. So in a dynasty, there may be 10 or 15 or 5 or 6 kings would be there. All the kings were not of the same quality or ability. Some may be very weak, some may be very powerful, some may be very intelligent, some might be doing many kind of reformations. So there may be a time, there may be a period which was considered to be more prosperous, more fruitful. Such period is known as golden age. You might have studied in history the period when Ashoka ruled. It was considered. When Alexander the Great ruled Macedonia and Greece. So in this way, we can see, in this way, when Amenhotep III ruled over Egypt, it was a flourishing, prosperous time, and it was written as golden age in his dynasty. After his death, after the rule of 40 years, he died. After him, Amenhotep IV, his son, became the king, became the Pharaoh. And he made tremendous changes. He made very strange changes. He made a number of stunning changes. He made a number of strange, startling changes. I made many words. Startling changes, stunning changes, strange activities. All these things. What are they? And his period is known as the strangest period in his dynasty. What are they? The new Pharaoh. The new Pharaoh, Amenhotep IV. The new Pharaoh promoted the worship of the Aten. Worship of Aten. The son changed his name to Akhenaten. You see, they worshipped the sun god, and the sun god's name was Aten, A-T-E-N, Aten. And he changed the name of sun god Aten into, he changed his own name. Amenhotep IV changed his name into Akhenaten. Akhenaten. You divide the word Akhenaten. Akhenaten. That means servant of Aten. Servant of Son of God. Amenhotep, it was his name. He was the king of Egypt. He was the Pharaoh. And he was a strange king. When he ruled over Egypt, he changed his own name into Akhenaten. Its meaning son of God Aten. Then, and moved the religious capital from the old city of Thebes to the new city of Akhetaten. He changed the capital of his country, kingdom. The capital of his kingdom was on the banks of Thebes. Banks of Thebes. And he changed this to a new city, to Amarna, known as Amarna. At present it is Amarna. And he gave the name to that city as Akhetaten. Akhetaten. You see, a typical words, Amenhotep III. Later, it was a golden age. After that, Amenhotep IV. Clear now? After Amenhotep, Amenhotep changed his own name into Akhenaten, meaning son of the or servant of the goddess, sun god Aten. He also changed the capital. In history, you might be knowing that kings who changed the capital for many times. Muhammad bin Tughlaq, you might have learned. Muhammad bin Tughlaq, he might have changed the capital for 7 times. Rija, switch off your mic. Switch off your mic. So, This one. So Akhenaten changed his capital, and that place is now known as Amarna. He further shocked the country by attacking Amun, a major god. So he waged a war. He waged a war against God. How did he get that courage to wage a war against God? Can you imagine from the last 3-4 lines? Can you imagine? How did Amenhotep IV took the courage to wage a war against God Amun? God Amun was one of the famous major gods. What thoughts gave him the courage? Can you imagine?
The sun god is more powerful.
The
sun god is more powerful.
Yes, very good. He changed his name into servant of God. You see, he changed his name into Akhenaten. And he inserted his name into the dynasty of gods. In another way, he might have thought he was equal to God. Or he has the backup support of sun god. See, he expected the help from sun god. That is why he waged a war against God Amun. What did he do? Smashing his images and closing his temples. Underline. He smashed, destroyed all the statues of God Amun and closed all the temples in the name of God Amun. In this way, he waged a war against God Amun. It must have been a horrific time, said Ray Johnson, director of the University of Chicago's Research Center in Luxor, the site of ancient Thebes. See, here the words are written in that way. It must have been, it might have been a horrible time. Horrible time. People could not have digested his changes. When the king destroys the temples and statues of their gods, how can the people accept him? But since he was Pharaoh, since he was the king, people could not speak against him. That is why it is told it was a horrific time. So says the Ray Johnson, director of the University of Chicago. Ray Johnson was the director of University of Chicago's Research Center, not the director of University of Chicago. University of Chicago has a research center in Egypt on the banks of Thebes. He was the director of that research center. That research center is in Luxor. Now you are writing with the pens, Luxor pen. You see, the pen has taken, the company has taken the name for the pen from archaeology. It is a research center. So Luxor, your pen's name is taken from there, Egyptian name. You see, in all the names of modern commodities, you will see such kind of backgrounds. The site of ancient Thebes, the family that had ruled for centuries was coming to an end, and then Akhenaten went a little wacky. Little wacky means he became an eccentric. So in this way, that dynasty came to an end. Okay, the rest we will see tomorrow in the next class. Okay, thank you.